Hello, happy stampers. Kate here again with Kate's Paper Creations, sharing with you my weekly video and blog where I case the catalog. Today I am casing the Fall 2021 mini catalog from Stampin' Up! And I'm looking at a card on page 65, and that's this card right here. And I've got a lot of little tips and tricks I used to make this card look like I wanted it to, and hopefully it won't get too awfully lengthy, and I'll be able to show you what I've done. So this is my finished product right here, and it is truly beautiful, isn't it? So let's get started. The base of this card is Coastal Cabana, I believe. Let me double check my notes. Yes, Coastal Cabana, and it is a standard A2 greeting card size, so it's 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. And we'll get our thing and do that. And then these strips, let me take you through. Oh, I should probably show you. I'm going to be using Mary Snowflakes, and I'm going to be using these 3 snowflake dies that are in the thing, as well as the stamps. Then I ended up using rectangle stitched, and you'll see why in a moment. Metallic Pearls is our bling, and the tag for the sentiment came from Tasteful Labels. The colors I am using are Coastal Cabana, Rich Razzleberry, Highland Heather, Bermuda Bay, and Pool Party. I'm also using the Rich Razzleberry and Bermuda Bay inks and blending brushes, and I'll explain the use of the silver here in a minute, but if you have silver foil, which I was out of, I'm going to show you how you can make do using your metallics embossing powders and the silver embossing powder, and I'll be sharing that with you as we go along. So the first thing I did was cut these different cardstocks in different sizes. I'm going to share with you the sizes I chose so that I could get them to come out evenly on the front of the card. They are all 4 inches wide. For the Razzleberry, it is 3/4 and 1/2. For the Highland Heather, it is 5/8 and 1/2. For the Bermuda Bay, it is 5/8 and 3/8. And for the Pool Party, it's 3/8 and 1/4. And again, they're all 4 inches wide. So that's the sizes, and then I'm going to bring them in here. They're all cut, but as you can see, or hopefully you can see, there is some stamping here and some silver here, and I'm going to show you how I did that, because I wanted these swirls to line up with one another when I separated them. And this is how I did it. I took my removable adhesive, and I just put some on the backs of each of these. Doesn't need a lot, just a little bit. So this is the first little trick to this. Let's just get a little bit on the backs of each of these while I'm doing it here, and then we'll do the layout. And I'm hoping that my heat tool will work for while I'm doing the video. It's been giving me a little bit of a fuss, so we'll hope that it works. So I cut a piece of regular copy paper. It is well, it's 4 1/4 by 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm just using it to give myself a straight edge and something to hold everything in place. So I put that on the back, that removable adhesive on the back of these, so I could lay them out and have them, if I can just get it to cooperate here. Here we go. And then press it into place. And then the next color is this one, and we will put it on. This is going to be really cool. Now obviously I'm not leaving the spaces. That will come later. I just finish getting these pieces on here in order. And then I'll be attaching them to the card in the same order. Okay, then I'm going to bring in my Versamark ink pad, and my swirly stamp, this one right here. And I'm going to use my embossing buddy, which is no longer available, but any kind of anti-static product that you have to keep embossing powder from sticking where you don't want it. I'm going to turn on the heat tool over here and let it start preheating a little bit, so you'll have some noise. Hopefully it won't be too irritating to listen to. Okay, I'm going to get my hair off of there. I have to say I've been dealing with that a lot lately. Okay, and I'm just going to randomly stamp this with the Versamark. I think I'd like some up over this way. I'll turn it around. We need some down in here somewhere. Need one down here. And I think that's about all I did. Okay, now I'm going to put my embossing powder on. And we will get those in powdered up here. Make sure it all looks good. Oopsie. That could have used... Sometimes I get a little bit where I don't want it. Let me find my brush here. I got a little edge thing there. I'm going to knock that off, blow it away. That's going to be fine. Okay, now we're going to heat emboss that. So I will bring in my embossing, my heat tool. I don't want to do that. And we will get this You don't ever want to set this down on your tabletop and do it. It could damage your tabletop. So I have to hold it up until it melts. And it's, you know, it's coming around a little bit. It's okay. It's going to all be fine. Because it was stamped in order, it'll stay in order. Even though it's coming loose, it's making my self-removable adhesive is not cooperating. It's coming undone. Let's make sure I got this piece. I should have used more tape. When I did it the first time, it held perfectly. So just use plenty of removable adhesive and you won't have that problem. Okay, I'm going to leave that over there for a minute. Well, I'll turn it off. I'm going to hope it comes back on later. Okay, so there's all my pieces for that are embossed the way I want them. I'm going to just try and stick them back down because I still want to do some other stamping on them. I want to bring in that Versamark again, and I want to get this up here. I'm going to put some right on my paper here so it'll hold better. There we go. And there we go. There we go. And now I'm just going to use Versamark and stamp some more of this swirl around on this piece. And it will show up as, and you can stamp over your embossing. It's not going to hurt a thing. And it will add just a little bit of print to either your panels that are going to go on the card. I think that's probably good enough. This one looks like it needs a little bit more right there. Okay, so there's my panels all ready to go. Now we're going to attach them to the front of the card. And I'm going to lay this one up here. When I did it the first time, I used my grid paper. I'm going to use this right now. And we're going to be using Stamp and Seal. Find it here. I just laid it down somewhere. There it is. And we'll start attaching these pieces. Now I'm going to take that removable adhesive off and add my Stamp and Seal to the back of each piece. And again, just making sure that I keep them facing in the right direction. Okay, and it, you know, making multiples, this works pretty good. I'm just going to use this as my guide. And there's going to be an 1/8 of an inch gap left to right as well. So you've got the gap there and the gap here. And there we go. And next, remove the removable and add the permanent. Yep, that's where it goes. And so then the next one goes right about here. Let's get it square. That should work. There we go. And the next one. This is probably some of the most time-consuming part of this, is just putting these, you know, there's a little bit of, actually there's quite a bit of prep. And when I did it, I made enough for multiples all at the same time. So I wasn't just having to set up all of the embossing powder and the heat tool and everything multiple times like I'm doing for you. I was able to do several at once, which makes it a lot easier. Sometimes and about like that. Hopefully I'm keeping these fairly straight. That one needs to go like that, just a little bit more maybe. And these ones getting pretty thin, I mean skinny, however you want to put it. So I'm going to put them side by side, and I'm going to try and run this down both of them at the same time, so I don't have to worry about backing. And then I'll just pull them apart. Okay, and then the next one goes right here. I think that'll be good. And then this one, I don't really need that other piece to guide me anymore. And then this last little one, and we'll just put some adhesive on that one. And of course it's whiter, so we have to kind of clean it up just a little bit, but it'll work. Just take that little bit of extra away. And then the last piece is going to go right here. It didn't come out too bad. I think it looks pretty good. Okay, now here is where I have to show you a little bit of what I did to get this silver frame. I did not have any silver foil. I was out. So I took the rectangle stitched squares, which I would have used anyway with the foil, and I used the 3rd and 4th one in here, the 3rd and the 4th. I cut the larger one out first, then I centered the smaller die in the middle and cut and fastened it with washi tape and cut it out the second time, so I got the frame. But of course it was just plain white, basic white cardstock. So then I took my white cardstock, that frame that I had, and I took my Versamark and I taped this frame to a piece of just regular paper like this. I just taped the frame with the removable adhesive. I just ran it on the back of it and stuck it on a piece of regular paper like this. Then I took my Versamark and I just stamped the frame until it was well covered with Versamark. Then I put my powder on and embossed it, and then I peeled it off of here and stuck it onto the front of my card. And here is my finished piece. And so that's how I did it. I hope that makes sense to you. I'm going to be using my Zig two-way glue pin to attach it. You'll lose a little bit of embossing powder on the background that you stuck this to. It's impossible to get the whole frame silver without getting some around the edges as well. But it's how I compensated for not having silver, and it had to be silver. It just had to be silver. So that's how I created it. And actually I ended up really liking it, because I got my stitching, and then it created just a little bit of a texture as well. So I was really pleased. Now this is going to go on here just centered, top to bottom and side to side. I'm going to hold it down till it starts to stick well. And there's that frame, that silver frame. Now, there are also in this front piece, when I start making it, several of these, one of each of these, that were die cut out, and they were needing to be silver as well. So I took a piece of white cardstock, and I literally just stamped my Versamark on it, and just stamp, and covered it. Covered a piece big enough for these to be cut out of. And then I put the silver embossing powder on it, and I baked it, and so I had a background like this that I laid them down and cut them out of. And so I ended up with my silver flakes that I needed as well. Now for the colored ones that you see here, this is Bermuda Bay. This is the Rich Razzleberry, and I took onto white cardstock, and I used the blending brushes and those colors, and I just brushed color on enough of white cardstock to be able to cut out these three of each color. Now they are embossed then with the stamps that are in the set. And so what I did is I brought out our old-fashioned Stampa Magic, and I'm going to put a piece of tape on the back, removable adhesive again. I'm going to put that on here. Now this is a little bit of messing around maybe. This is the Stampa Magic. I got out the Rich Razzleberry ink pad, and I placed my stamp on the block so it was in the same configuration as the piece I'm going to stamp. And then I stamped it on here with the Rich Razzleberry. Then you line it up like this. Remember when we used to have to do this? And so you can line it up, and then you put this so it catches the corner of that plastic piece. Now, there, like that. Then I'm going to bring in my Versamark ink, and I am going to, I can't hold two things at once, so it's going to be rattly. That's okay. And I'm going to put this on here just like this. Now I probably should have embossing buddied that, but we'll hope that it comes out okay, because then I'm going to pour the embossing powder on, and we'll get that hot so that we can do that. I'm going to turn it around. I'm going to put this one on this side. I'm going to bring in my Stampa Magic and get ready to do the other one in just a moment. Let's see if we can't get this one to I probably should have done a few of these ahead of time so you didn't have to watch me do them all, but that's okay. You're patient with me, right? So there's that one ready to go. I can take it off, set it aside, and bring this one in, and we'll do the same thing with this one. We'll line up the stamp with the background piece, We'll bring this in, catch the corners and edges of the plastic, which is what makes us keep our everything in place. We'll stamp it and powder it. There we go. And we'll get that one next. You know, this is one, the Stampa Magic is a tool that has been discontinued and somewhat replaced by the Stamparatus. But for what I'm doing here, the Stamparatus, I mean, I just didn't think it would really be all that efficient. So I feel fine using this. Same thing I did with this one. I'm just lining it up the same way that I have the stamp lined up, like that. And we will just do them one at a time. Let me get this inked first. And so then I just turned it and used another corner. We'll get it lined up here as best I can. Catch the corner and the edge. There we go. And stamp it. You know, these trays, they've been discontinued as well. But again, I kept them because they are just so handy. You could use a piece of paper to do your embossing powder over, and then you can kind of fold it up into a tray, you know, and pour it back into your container. So it's not the end of the world. Whoopsie. I touched that one. Let's get that one. Yep, that one's going to get used in a different way. I might have to use that in a place where I cover part of it up. Okay, then we'll put some, do this one next. One thing nice about Versamark ink, it doesn't dry very fast, so you can there we go. Knock off the extra. Works out good putting it on this piece of paper. Gives me something to hold on to while it's heating and I don't burn my little fingers. Okay, there's that one. And I'll be careful not to touch that one in the wrong spot. And then we'll bring in these last two. And again, just lining it up in the same direction that I had the stamp. I'm bringing in the last corner of my Stampa Magic piece that I used. Line up my piece. Oh, I moved it just a little bit. Let's get that where I want it. There, I'm happy with that. Okay, now let's re-ink that. I thought I had that lined up. Oh, there it is. I just had to turn my block. There we go. And almost done. I appreciate your patience. I don't have one of those fancy fast forwarding things on my system, so set that aside and let it cool. Bring up one more. I hope I'm getting all of this in the screen for you. I think I am. And there we go. Looks like it's going to be good. Last one. Then we'll be able to turn off the noisy stuff. I did do those others for you ahead of time. The background and the frame and the other pieces. Ah, feels so good when you turn the noise off. Okay, so there's all my little pieces all ready to go to start building the actual card. Let's get a few things out of the way so we've got room to work. I'll put that away. And we'll put this away, out of the way. Okay, so now we're going to start building this piece. There's my sentiment piece as well. So bring in all of our pieces. Okay, so they're grouped, and all of the rich raspberry pieces together and all of the Bermuda Bay pieces together. And I just kind of eyeballed how I wanted them. I want this one to come. I had this on this card, I had this one come up over the top, but I messed up one spot, so I'm going to have it go underneath so I can hide that piece. And then I might put this one like this. And then it used this piece and just want some of it to show, and it's going to go in this corner, and I want this corner to kind of show, so I'm just kind of eyeballing how it's going to look, and I think that's going to work really, really well. So first thing I'm going to do is put this piece down, and I'm just going to use a glue dot to do that. Get my glue dots here. There they are. And I'm just going to stick one in the back of it right in the middle and kind of place it where I think I want it to be, about like, let's put it over this way just a little bit, about like that. Then I'm going to put this one on, get the right one, this one on flat. So I'm just going to use my Stampin' Seal for that. And I'm going to put it like this. Then I'm going to raise this one with dimensionals. That needs a little bit of a glue dot, I think. It's sticking up more than I like. So I'm going to take a glue dot and I'm going to roll it up into a little bead that'll fit behind this and not drop it where I don't want it. And I'm going to stick it to the back of that and do that to it. I like that better. Okay, then I'm going to put dimensionals on this one, and it doesn't need a lot. I think I'll probably will put 4 of them on there though. I'm not really concerned about supporting the okay, so I'm going to put this one on with dimensionals, and I want to cover up that part that I messed up when I touched it too soon before it was set, so I'm going to do that. And then this one, originally I had it flat, and maybe I will do that again. I think I will. I think I'm going to just put this one on here. And I'm going to tuck it right up under here. I'm going to let that come up over the top of it and then come down like that. So there's that corner. Then on the bottom corner, again, it's just kind of figuring out where you want things. I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to dimensionalize it as well. Stay up here where you can see what I'm doing. I'll have a mess to clean up when I'm done. That's okay. Okay, I'm going to put this one kind of like that. Then I'm going to put dimensionals on the back of this one, and it's going to overlap this one, so I only want dimensionals on the other edge because I don't want to have to double them up. I'm going to let it just rest there. So I'm going to put two of them side by side there. Then when I turn it over, I can tuck it up like this, and then maybe you'll bring it up a little bit higher like this, and then those dimensionals will stick there, and that'll just stick there. Then this one is going to get one dimensional right in the middle, and I'm going to stick it right over the top like that. And then I have some more of these. I'm going to tuck one kind of up in here, and if you want it smaller, you can trim it if you want, so that it can just fit right up under there and you only see the part you wanted to keep, like that. And to do that, I'll use a glue dot, and I will, again, I'll roll it up, and I will put it, hello, get a hold of it, kind of right here. I'm going to put it right here where it'll pretty much hold the whole thing into place, and I'll tuck it back up under there and press it down. There's that one. And then I did have the other one, oh yeah, right here, and it can stick out a little bit more because there's more room for it. Again, I'll use glue dots, and it'll be primarily flat. I'm going to put it behind, a couple of them behind the spots where a rolled up glue dot won't protrude and not get sticky where it's not supposed to. You can kind of see where I just tuck them behind those spots, and then I'm going to tuck it in here and stick it down. So no two are the same. I mean, and I've got this piece, I could use it, I could put it here if I wanted to, and maybe I will. Since I've got it, let's just do that. That'll be fun. So you can make as many or as few as you want, build it however you choose. There's all of that. Then this piece, like I said, I cut out with Tasteful Touches, I believe it's called. Yeah, Tasteful Labels, excuse me. I'm going to stamp the sentiment from the Mary Snowflakes stamp set with, yeah, my ink's a little bit too juicy. I'll show you what I do when that happens. I'm going to bring this in, and I'm just going to take the edge of my bone folder, and I'm going to pull some of this ink back like this, because that print is so fine that if you get the ink too heavy, it will get all kind of blurry, and you don't want that. So pull back some of that, then I can get a crisper, yeah, that's going to be much better. And I'm just going to stamp it right in the middle, like that. And then I'm going to put this on the front of the card with dimensionals, and I'm just going to kind of figure out where I want them. I want one right about here and one right about there, so that I don't have to double up anything. The rest of it will just rest on the other pieces, and stick that in there. There we are. Now I have those metallic pearls, and I'm going to use the smallest silver ones that I have, and I'm going to find my pokey tool, and I'm going to put one of these pearls in the center of each of the snowflakes that is not covered up. If the center is showing, it will get a bead. That there. And this one shows. Cooperate. There we go. And one more goes here. And then if you wanted to, you could put some around the sentiment as well. And just add a couple of little here and here. And maybe one down there. So there is today's Casing the Catalog card, Casing the Mini Catalog, page 65. and using the Merry, get the word right, Merry Snowflakes stamp set. I hope you enjoyed today's video. The link to my online store and my blog are in the description below. I hope that if you don't have a demonstrator, you will consider shopping with me online. In this day and time of being careful, you can order online 24/7 and it's delivered direct to your door, so no contact basically. So that works out really nice. And I send a gift to everyone who orders from me online and uses my host code for the month. If you order $50 or more and use the host code, the current host code, I will send you a personal gift from me to thank you for patronizing me, and I appreciate that very much. You have a great day. We'll be back soon.